All right, so I want to welcome everybody to our monthly Zoom call for the 2026-2027 Council of Governors. I know that sounds like it's a long way off, but as I keep telling you, it is going to come upon you quicker than you can ever imagine. We've got a number of things to do this evening, and I think it's going to be kind of interesting. I've got some housekeeping that I'm going to do up front with you. It just won't take but just a few minutes. And then I'm going to turn this over to a very good friend of mine. Some of you may know him. Some of you may know him when you see him when he's on Facebook with the Global Lions Forum. But Lion Richard Stevenson is from somewhere out there in Arizona, the Phoenix area. I don't know, someplace those zoners hang out. I'm not really sure, but he's out there in that part of the country. But Richard and I was very fortunate to serve with Richard when I served as an area leader. He and I served together during that year that I did that, and he had been there quite a few years before then. An excellent Lion, somebody who knows a great deal about what is going on and has his finger on the pulse of a lot of things. But I have asked Richard to come in and give a little bit of a talk on global membership approach at the club level. And it's going to be a little bit of an overview for you, but he's also got some things he's going to talk about in his discussion. He's going to be talking about Chat GPT and how that can help you, your district, and your clubs in doing some things that you need to be able to do with through the global membership approach and going beyond just the stuff that we do. So as a SWOT analysis, helping to define that SWOT through Chat GPT, and it's really kind of an interesting way of doing it. So just letting you kind of know the precursor of that. My housekeeping for you though is this: we had talked about the November 9th conflict that we had with your online training that for Lions Clubs International. Guys, don't worry. We're not going to have to reschedule that training. So that training will be recorded, and you are going to be asked to please just view that recorded training at your convenience. But you will need to go and do that. But we're not going to need to make that up. The GMA roundtable that we do once a month on that Zoom call for that. I do know that one of you has had some difficulty either in logging in or staying connected. Has anybody else had that issue?
No.
Didn't have any trouble with it, but watching all those other people try to just mute themselves or not show me their nose hairs, it was so sad. But I was able to watch it. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Bless their hearts.
I appreciate that. So we only had one of you who had that issue. We won't say who that was.
And that one person, the computer is dead. So I'm using a phone. So I probably don't have the conductivity that all you fine people that have fine computers have.
And thank you so much for that. And based upon your responses, it looks like we're going to have our get together in San Angelo on Friday evening at the Pearl on the Concho. I'm suggesting we get together about 7 o'clock. That will give time. There will be a few people who will be arriving a little bit later, but we'll start at 7. For those who are going to get there early enough, that gives them time to check in and then maybe get out and get something to eat for dinner. But we'll meet in there for a bit of a social. I think that's going to be good. Have a little bit of social time with everybody, and we'll meet there in the lounge there at the Pearl and the Concho. For that training, we're going to be wearing our council uniforms. Let me back that up. Just our council shirt. And with council shirt with blue jeans. So you don't have to think about bringing a pair of slacks or unless you want to. But I sure would, but our nice council shirt will look nice because we are going to take a group photo sometime during that period. So kind of want us all to make sure that we're looking sharp and looking like a group that at least we can look like we know what we're doing, right? So we can do that.
Appearances.
Did everybody see the email from Lions International today on the portal webinar series that are going to be coming up?
Yes.
Okay. There's going to be 8 webinar sessions that are going to be conducted, going from managing your district and multiple district, new club application, getting started, new club application, completing the process. Hey, Ryan, how you doing? I know you're going to be with us. Glad to see you, bud. Creating and managing service activities, managing club members, managing club branches and members, managing club officers, and Leo Club management. All of those are going to be offered. And I think that while I know you have a ton of training that you have to go to and that we're asking you to do, if you can, try to sit on some of these webinars. I'm hoping that they will record them. They normally do, and then we'll end up on the Lions International Facebook or Lions International YouTube page. But I think that it will be excellent information, and it's something that all of you will need to know how to do as you go through some of the things that you're doing.
Chris, did that come out today? Because I have not seen it.
Yeah, it did come out. It came out this morning. I will turn around. I will forward that to all of you this evening after we get done with our call.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
You bet.
I have not seen that one.
I have not seen it either.
Okay, I will send it out to you today. As you know, you didn't get the weekly checking in because we have our Zoom meeting today. So we're not going to. That's why you didn't get it. Congratulations, by the way, to 3 districts. Want to mention off the bat, A2. They have started one new club, the San Antonio Autism Lions Club. So A2, congratulations on that. Chris is not here, but want to congratulate him. S4, and Terry is not here, but S4 has put in 3 new clubs this year: the Brazoria County South Onyx Lions Club, the Missouri City Caribbean Lions Club, and the Pearland Area Onyx Lions Club. So congratulations to that team down there. And I understand they got a couple more that are in the works. So I think that you're going to see a number of clubs out of S4 this year. And then X1, Gary, to you and to your leadership team, X3 has also put in 3 new clubs this year. I'm going to botch the name of this one club, and please, if I hope that everybody will understand why I'm botching it. Is the Dallas Badhamalika. I can spell it for you, but I still don't know if it's pronounced right. Badhamalika Lions Club.
You got it right. You got it right.
Wow. The Dallas Himalayan Sports Lions Club and the DFW Cyber Lions Club. So congratulations to all 3 of those districts. That's 7 new clubs here in MD2, and hopefully the rest of us will be able to start bragging upon new clubs that we put in. A little bit of bad news to pass on to you, or not bad news, but we need your help. All of you, we need your help. We have some clubs in MD2 that is in trouble of being placed on status quo. They will go on status quo as of November. That will put them 120 days out on that. So right now we're just a little over 90 days in past due balances, but we have a grand total of 86 clubs in MD2 that have an out who owe Lions International. Now, the bad part of that the potential losses, and we know it's not going to be this, but if all 86 clubs folded at the end of this first half of the year, by December, that would be this runs a potential loss of 1,577 Lions just in the state of Texas. So do all of you know how to go about looking at the spreadsheet that shows balances that are due? Okay, from the Lions portal. Okay. Take the time, go in, look at that, see those clubs that have an X out to the far right side that's in your district, and those are the clubs that are in jeopardy. So when I say in jeopardy, those are the clubs that have an outstanding balance that's beyond 90 days. And so just so you know, if that balance isn't paid by the end of this month of October, As of November the 1st, they will go on status quo, and then they will have until the end of November to pay, or they will go on financial suspension. And then at the end of, right up to the 29th of 28th or 29th of December, they will then, if that hasn't been paid, they will be suspended. So we want to make sure that we do that. So please, that's the only bit of bad news I need to pass on to you. And it's really not bad. It's just some housekeeping that, as a second vice district governor, you need to help if you're out visiting clubs and you have a club that you're visiting that does have an outstanding balance, just remind them that it'd be a good idea to pay that outstanding balance. Okay. So that's all that I have for that. So with all that being done, do any of you have a question for me before I turn this over to somebody who's really going to make this interesting? Perfect. All right, then. So without any further ado, I'm going to ask all of you, if you wouldn't mind, please, to go ahead and mute your microphones, and let's give a warm, big Texas welcome to a dear friend of mine and a wonderful Lion, Richard Stevenson. Richard, welcome. We're glad to have you here. And Richard, we're going to turn this program over to you, my friend. It's all yours.
Okay, I just got to figure out how to share something here. And here we go. I hope you'll all be a little patient with me. I got to turn the play on and then do the share. My goodness. Pay no attention to the man behind the screen.
You going to reshare?
I've got, my problem is I'm using Apple here. And with Apple, it's a little tough. Now I'm going to start over again. So now I'm going to go back to share. And now I'm going to do it. I'm sharing, but it's not coming up. Is that it there? No, it's not coming up.
If you have your slideshow, Richard, and you want to quickly email it to me, I'll share it from my end.
Okay. Hold on.
Then I can be your tech support.
Yeah, we should have done that in the first place. You make a good tech support.
You're in trouble if I'm your support.
Yeah.
So again, everybody be patient with Richard.
Screen sharing has failed to start. That's the problem. I don't know why that is, but I'm going to send this to you right now. Should have done this while you were still chattering.
Yeah, you should have.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
You sent it yet?
No, I'm trying to get this email started. Here we go. This should do it. I hope. Tell me if you get it.
Yeah, not yet. There it is. Got it, Richard. Let's see here. Yeah, but you didn't attach anything to it.
Well, I'm going to share this. You see that? Yeah, there we go. There we go. You got it now?
Yeah, there you go.
How do we achieve it, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Got a little bit slow there. I'm probably the oldest guy on this meeting tonight, so you have to be kind and you have to be patient with me. So I want to talk a little bit about how do we achieve Mission 1.5, and I'm going to go over a couple of things that I know you already know about. Everything I know I learned from Chris Gunstream, but he told me you were all tired of hearing his sweet voice, so I'm here to do the talking for him. So how are we going to achieve 1.5? I think you Texans already know the first thing we got to do is work as a team. And part of that working as a team is to delegate. We see so many things that come in every day from all over the place, from LCI and the latest shirt committee and the this and that and the other thing. If we're going to make Mission 1.5, we have to work as a team. And that means you as leaders have to be able to delegate off things to other people and you lead the team. Secondly, we got to keep the focus. We've got to keep a laser-like focus on this goal or we're going to lose sight of it. And ask ourselves the question on a regular day, how is what I'm doing right now going to help me to grow my district? Think about McDonald's. They think every day, they ask every day, how am I going to sell more hamburgers? And that's what we're doing here. We're trying to grow our team. We all know about the three-legged stool. And the first part of that is growth, which is the seed on top. And we're all responsible for that. But the rest of it, retention, recruiting, and extension, is how we grow our districts. And you can't grow a district with retention. Retention can keep you static, but you can't grow with it. But it keeps you from having to fill holes. And retention is primarily a club issue, as is recruiting. And you can see the tiny print there, which I know you folks in cars can't see at all. Hopefully you can see the stool. But that says GMT and club. So the GMT and the club is primarily there to focus on retention and recruiting. We've also got the zone chairs, of course, the GAT team and the rest of the team. But the primary workers on that, the primary leaders on that are the club and the GMT. The third one is extension. And that's primarily the GET team and the district. Clubs don't tend to open that many other clubs themselves without the district kind of behind there. Now, maybe you've got some clubs that do it, but in general, that's the GET. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. We have two tools to help to get us there. One is the GMA at all levels. That thing on the left is an elevator. And that's a little joke there, you see. At all levels, you see. So it says zone, club, and district. The GMA is a tool we can use at all levels. And secondly is the different types of clubs, opening new clubs. Over the last 40 years, we rarely have seen a district grow just from retention and recruiting. When we've seen growth, it's because there's been new clubs added and kept. So we have to focus on new clubs. We haven't done a very good job of that. We're going to do a much better job of it. It's going to be easier with ChatGPT. How many people know about ChatGPT? And I can't see everybody, so you tell me, Chris. About half?
Yes, about half.
Okay, cool. So I'm just going to briefly go over this. ChatGPT is an app that's put out by Google. We all know what Google is, and we have confidence in Google to the degree that you don't have to rewrite some stuff and take it with a grain of salt sometimes. It's kind of a super Google. It's actually artificial intelligence, but I don't even think of it that way. I just think of it as a super Google and a great place to write things and create things. It's just a wonderful tool. You can use it for free on a limited basis, or you can have a $20 a month account. It's worth the $20. I would recommend, if I was a district leader, that the district get it. We open it in the email of the district, not of a person. So other officers can use it. And then following that group of people, the next year, they can also keep using it as well and sign up with an email. And that's how it works. And that's chatgpt.com. We're going to go in from a different door, but that's what it is. Now, we're going to review GMA for clubs very quickly. Chris, what time are we done?
We're done about 8 o'clock, but if you need to run a couple of minutes over, don't worry about it.
So this is a 2-hour meeting?
No, it's a 1 hour meeting, 7 o'clock. So
Okay, cool. We'll make it. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is it's a process. Now, if I've ever heard this once, I've heard it 1,000 times from Chris. It's a process. And what that means is it doesn't have a start and an end to it. This is a process that a club adopts in order to manage its club. And it's facilitated in club meetings by Lions. And so when we go out and we facilitate it, we're facilitators, while the Lions are actually the ones that are putting together their GMA, their plan. We're facilitating. It's a simple business management planning process. I used it today. I said, I need to get to town. How am I going to get there? Well, this is the way I'm going to get there. Where am I now? So I need to drive from here to there. Very simple. It's where are we now? Where do we want to be? And how do we get there? We use that every day of our lives. And we're just going to kind of format it in a little structure, but it's the same thing. The way I do it is with a flip chart and Post-its. So I've got a flip chart on the wall. I hand out little books of Post-its to all the Lions in the room, and I give them a marking pen. And that's the way we get started. And we're going to cover two things. I think you've been through this before. One is SWOT, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But we're going to forget about the threats on a club basis. We're just going to think about SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. That's SWA. And you've heard of KISS before, right? Well, we're going to KISSle, and that's keep it simple, Lions. We're not going to overcomplicate this and trying to make this into rocket surgery or something. This is a real basic thing, and we could make it as sophisticated as possible or as simple as possible. And when you go to a club, you're going to look around you and you're going to know how you're going to do it in that particular club. Know your clients. The second thing is SMART goals. That's specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. What that means is, what are you going to do? Who's going to do it? When's it going to be done by? Very, very simple. And the club leaves the meeting with 3 simple short-term goals to succeed. And then the club tracks the goals, celebrates the successes, and rinse and repeat. So all we're going to do in this process of maybe a 2-hour meeting with that club, or we could do it with a zone too, is to sit down and say, where are we now? Let's use the SWOT analysis. Where do we want to be? We're going to do a club vision statement. And how do we get there? We're going to set SMART goals. It's that simple. And we're going to walk out with 3, and then we're going to practice achieving those goals and setting new goals. So the SWOT analysis for the East Moose Jaw Lions Club is here. And I went through and I created a number of strengths and weaknesses and opportunities. And what we typically do is hand out the Post-its to the Lions, say, give me 3 strengths. We put them all up on the wall. We talk about them. Some we take down. We may add others. When we're happy with that list as a group, then we do weaknesses, and then we do opportunities. And when we're done with that list, that's where we are now. Now, what I did was I took that list of those Post-its and what's written on those Post-its, and I went into ChatGPT and I typed in, create a SWOT matrix of the following strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities, and I wrote them down with a comma in between each and hit the button, and that's what came out. And I put it right on a slide. I didn't have to mess about with it or draw lines or anything else. It took me about 5 minutes to create that little matrix. That's how easy ChatGPT works for you. So those are our strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. Now we know where we are today. Let's figure out where we want to be. What's our club's vision? What are the things we want our club to be? If I were to ask Chris, what do you want in your club? And he says, I'd like to have 25 active members. That's a good one. Write it on a piece of paper and stick it up there. I'd like to have a 501c3. Let's put that up there. Whatever you have in your mind as your vision for your club. And then I took that, typed it into the ChatGPT, and I just said, give me the following vision statement. And I just wrote down everything on those things with a comma in between. Hit the button, and this is what came up. I like this as an example because, as you can see, it's a little wordy, it's a little duplicative because it took everything. But that needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But we can do that now once it's printed on this piece of paper. So that helped me get all those ideas down there, and then we can work on it as a vision statement, because your vision statement for your club is never really finished. Our vision statement and our whatnot for the Lions we've had for 100 years. My sense is things may have changed in that 100 years. I know in our club, we don't have one thing that stays constant year after year after year. So now where are we now? Where do we want to be? What's next? How do we get there? So now we're going to sit down and come up with 3 SMART goals. That just means 3 goals that are easy, short-term, and that we can get done by the next meeting. So we're going to crawl before we walk, and we're going to take small steps, and then we're going to repeat. Short-term, use our strengths, fix our weaknesses, and look at what we want our club to be. Here's 3 that I chose using these Post-its down here. And I know you guys in the car can't even begin to see this, but I'm going to read you a couple of them. And I said to ChatGPT, give me a matrix of the SMART goals. And it created this thing right here. I just typed in the words. And the first one is invite the admin of the community Facebook page to the meeting. This community has a Facebook page. We want to get some visibility. We're going to start a new club. We want visibility. We need to figure out how we get that. So we're going to invite the admin to the club. Who's going to do it? Lion Bob. When's it going to be done by? He's going to make the invitation by next meeting. It may be a month or 2 out. But that's goal number 1. Goal number 2 is ask the ag teacher to be a guest speaker at the club, because we want to start serving the ag students with more tech. And the third thing is for President Sue to figure out a plan for us to have 1 meeting in the evening a month, because one of our weaknesses was people who have jobs couldn't make it to our lunch meetings. So she's going to have that planned by next meeting as well. So now we got 3 of them. Then what do? We rinse and repeat. We share the goals with all the Lions. We can take that matrix I just typed up in about 5 minutes and stick it on an email, send it to the Lions that weren't there. We bring it to the meeting. We take it out first thing and we say, how did we do? We got 3 goals here. How did we do? We share the goals and then we track the progress. Okay, the first one was done. Great. And then Lion Sue, President Sue, did hers. Great. We're going to take the American flags that we have for our special Lions of the Week and put it in front of their table. They get a free lunch, whatever it is. It's just some recognition and celebrating success. And it doesn't have to cost any money. It's just making people feel good about getting things done. The fella in the middle, he didn't get his done because the guy never returned the calls. So what we're going to do is we're going to renew that one for the following meeting. So now we've got 1 goal for the following meeting. We need to come up with 2 more goals for the ones that we completed. So we go back to the board, we rinse and repeat, we do it over again. Make sense? Everybody nods. Cool. I think this is a rerun for you folks. Am I right? Kinda. Okay. So now, great. We know how to do this. So what does this mean for the 2nd vice district governors, 1st vice district governors, and district governors? Well, we want to implement this throughout the district. So we need GMA champions. I'm a GMA champion. Chris is a GMA champion. How did we get this title? Well, we just learned how to do it and went out with clubs and helped them do it. We facilitated it in clubs. And we should have our GAT team, our zone chairs, our guiding Lions, should all be familiar with this. And they can go out and facilitate this process in clubs. So we sign up the zone chairs, the GAT team, everybody, we all become GMA champions. If you don't know how to do this, you can sit down with a short video and show up at a meeting and go through it once. And by the next time you go through it, you're going to be better at it. And by the 3rd time, you're going to be an expert. And there's no right way to do this. There's only the way to come out with the outcome at the end. And I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of fun to help a club figure out what they're really doing right, what they can take pride in, and how they can move forward and achieve more success. And then, tough as it is, we focus on the Willings clubs first. because we don't want to spend time with clubs who are disinterested in this. And hopefully, once they see the success of the clubs next door, they'll say, I'd like to do that too. So I'm going to say, if we have any questions about GMA, we can take a couple of minutes and answer questions or move on to ChatGPT.
If you have a question, just open your mic and ask that question.
And I learned everything about GMA there is to know from Chris. So it's not like you're left without wisdom when I leave here today.
Richard, I have a question. It's Kim Giles.
Shoot.
Is this something that you would schedule for a club visit for an interested club, or do you just like get the word out that you're doing it and you're happy to come to them to demo it? Or at what opportunity is this proper to bring it to a club to actually implement with them?
You would need to arrange for a serious meeting. I wouldn't just show up. It's not a presentation, and it takes a good 2 hours to do it right with a club.
Okay.
So once you have your team together, I'd have them, and especially the zone chairs, start calling the clubs and saying, when would you like me to come to facilitate this?
Good to know. Okay.
And I, of course, bring it up at the convention and at the zone meetings and whatnot to let people know what's going on. And you can do a brief presentation on it at the convention so people know what we're talking about. And we don't have to call this the GMA. We can call this club planning. That seems to be something that folks are happier to hear than Merle and Merlot and Milo and EIEIO and all the different names we've had over the years for the same darn program.
Thank you.
Next question.
I have a comment. I'm a little concerned about your comment about saying that the clubs that we're not interested, we're not going to bother with.
I believe what I said.
I find that a little troubling.
I think I
Because
said
those are the
was
clubs that we need to focus on.
I think what I said was start with the ones who are willing first, and build some success. Obviously, you're correct, but this is something when you're starting it new, I'd want to have some success stories in my pocket. So when I talk to the ones who are skeptical or who said that, we've heard these things before, you can say, hey, we were down the road at the East Moose Jaw Club, and let me show you, we got 3 new lions already. So you're right. I'm agreeing with you.
I mean, I have 54 clubs in my district. Some clubs over 100 members, some down to 12. And to say, oh, they don't care, I don't want to give up on them.
No, I wouldn't. But you're going to need a big team to tackle that group. But you've got some clubs that obviously are working this now. If they're over 100 members, they're doing things right, pretty right. They can tell a good story.
Richard, this is Diane Shawley from MD 2S3. And I listened to, I think it was your presentation last Thursday night at the GMA roundtable. Was that you?
Last week, I think I did 2, but it was the growth workshop is what I was on last week.
Okay, well, anyhow, so is this the use of AI? Is this the district standard going forward?
It is not an LCI standard.
Okay.
And I'll get into that in a minute. I'm glad you brought that up because that reminds me to say something about that. So if we're done with club planning, let's work on ChatGPT.
Go right ahead, Richard.
Okay. ChatGPT is helpful for anything you do in Lions and many things you're doing in life. We're going to focus on where and how to start a club, how to grow a club, how to produce a marketing plan, how to produce a press release, how to contact the various newspapers and televisions and radio in your community, an endless series of things that are just wonderful. Now we're we all know Daniel Marnie Elkins, right? I think so. We've all heard of him. And Lions Virtual is a production of Daniel Marnie Elkins and Jody Burmeister, Winster Ceballos, Chris Wooters. I'm involved, and some other folks are involved. And this is a something that's put together for Lions by Lions. So this is not LCI. This is Lions Virtual. And as you can see right down here, the Global Lions Forum is a part of it, and GMA for Clubs is also a part of it. Our logo just doesn't happen to be up there right now. This is the cover photo for Lions Virtual. We're going to give you the link for Lions Virtual. We're going to enter ChatGPT through Lions Virtual. And the reason why we're going to do that is because Daniel Marnie Elkins has structured 2 different programs here for us to use. And you could do it on your own and by asking it questions, but he's set up some questions already that are just great. Now, LCI, as far as I know, I'm not sure exactly what the wording is, but is not doing anything with AI for Lions clubs. I'm not sure why that is, because it's a very powerful tool. So in answer to your question, this is not from LCI, and LCI has nothing to do with it. So if we were to click one of these 2 links here, the first one is Lions Map to Grow. And this has 4 questions to start with. They're not the only ones you can use. They just happen to be the ones Daniel's pre-programmed. Where do you want to start a new line? Where do you want to grow your club? Would you like to help creating an outreach plan for a club? Are you ready to brainstorm potential partners? And do you want to practice your Lions Club recruitment pitch? This also helps you create posts for Facebook, for Instagram. It comes up with a press release. You can put in your service project and it'll create a press release. Then you say, I'm in East Moose Jaw. What are the news outfits in East Moose Jaw? And it'll give you the list of the newspapers and their contact information and the list of the radio stations and television stations. And then you say, okay, I want to post for Facebook and I want to post for Instagram and I want to create a marketing plan, and it will do all of these things for you. All you have to do is put in where you are, what is it you want to achieve, and some specific facts to round this thing out. So that's one of the 2 options you have. The other one is Lions Market to Grow. And in fact, I got it backwards. The first one is for starting new clubs and whatnot. This one is the second one that I just described. And that is, how can you help me create a marketing plan? I'd like to promote our Lions Club's latest service project. How can we get more community engagement? And the first one is, how can we, where can we start new clubs and so forth? So now I'm going to go here, and if Chris can get this loaded up in the share. You're not seeing that, are you, Chris? Stop share, and then go back to that. We're not seeing this, are we, Chris?
It is not coming up, Richard. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm going to try to do this just verbally if I can, and I know half of you couldn't see it anyway. The print is so darn small. So I'm going to do this verbally. And if you can kind of picture in your mind how this is working, I'm going to go to a box. I'm going to go down to the bottom, and I'm just going to type in want to start new club in Kermit, Texas. And I'm going to press that button, and up comes, great. You want to start a new Lions Club in Kermit, Texas. Let's begin by getting a sense of the area and what we can grow a strong club there with. And it's giving me the demographics, the asset mapping, the SWOT analysis, and the recruitment support. So I say, okay, we want to find who are the 10 most influential leaders in the town. And it's coming up with identifying the 10 most. Here they are: the mayor, the city council members, the Chamber of Commerce president, the school district superintendent, local business owners, faith leaders, sheriff and police chief, healthcare leaders, and directors of nonprofits. The next question I would ask them is, please give me their names and their contact information, and it would list that out. The next thing I would do is to say, okay, I need a letter of introduction to these people. My name is Richard Stevenson. My club name is X, or it's the Moose Jaw Lions, let's say. And I've already started a Facebook page and an Instagram page for it, because we do that before we start the new club, right? And we have these social media pages, and we're going to be working with kids and doing vision screening and the following things. And then it will crank out 10 letters for me with the various names and addresses of these various people, which I can slip in an envelope, and it'll produce a list for me with the names and the phone numbers and the emails. And in the letter, I can say, I'm going to be calling you in a week to set up a meeting and meet with you in person to talk to you. And so then in a week, or I call them, and I've got the list right there in front of me with all their information. I go right down it and call those folks and set up all the meetings. So when I arrive out there a week from then, I know exactly who I'm going to be seeing, when I'm going to be seeing them, and they know something about me. And I've told them about our Facebook page, and I've told them about our Instagram. So hopefully they've already looked at that. And I'm already rolling with my new club. Now let me go to the other one, which is the one that does the club marketing and so forth. And I go in and I say, okay, I need a marketing plan to grow my club in Kermit, let's say. There's a club there, we've got 12 members. I need a marketing plan for that club, and here's some of the issues. And give me a GMA for it. And it'll go through and create a basic GMA approach for it. And then you can say, okay, now I want to have my last service project to be posted to the Facebook page, and it'll create a post for the Facebook page, a different post for Instagram, and a different post for LinkedIn, because they're all different kinds of social media. And then we say, okay, now I want to be able to have a press release on our latest service project. So it produces a press release for me. It then says, okay, here's all the places you can send it. You send it out via email to the various places. Their newspaper, radio, or television. Now, there's no guarantee that they'll do that, but they may very well, especially in smaller towns. And then the next question is, if they don't do it, what's the next step? And it's asking me this question. And so I say, yes, tell me. And it says, well, call them a second time. And then it might produce a second letter for you. And so you see, this is such a powerful tool. And you can find this by going to this this link right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's lionsvirtual.com. That's it, lionsvirtual.com. And that's all you got to do. So and with that, I'm going to close. I think we've got 8 minutes left on your hour.
I got it. Yes, we have a few more minutes left on this. And that is actually lionsvirtual.org. So,
okay, so this is the way it works.
okay, Cody, I'm gonna mute you if you don't mind, please, because you're okay.
Yeah,
or if you would mute, there we go. Gotcha. I got you muted. A couple of things, and first off, and before I get started here, Richard, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that overview very much. It's much different than mine, and it's always good to hear yours, because I learn something every time I hear yours when you do that. Thank you for that. And thank you for the chat GPT comments. I'm going to make a little comment here because I know that a number of you are going, well, why are we talking about chat GPT if it's not something that Lions International is we'll say pushing. I don't want to use that term, but that's the first word that comes to mind.
Endorsing.
Thank you very much, Kim. That's why you're on here, to keep me from being silly. It is being used by Lions International throughout the entire staff at Lions International. It's not that it's a secret. I think that the reason and I'm going to speculate here, Richard, you may have a little bit better feel for this, but the reason that it's not being endorsed and pushed out to Lions saying, we want you to do this, is it's just another cost that is involved. Yes, it is a free service, but the $20 is the best way to go. And I don't think that they want to start looking or asking folks to say, hey, you need to spend more money in order to be a Lion. So I think there is a little bit of that's in there. So as it becomes more and more mainstream, I think you'll then see something along those lines take place within Lions International. But I can personally tell you that I sat in a meeting here last year, and I had past International President Brian Sheehan, past International President Frank Moore, second Vice President Mark Lyon, and who else was in that room? I think it was first International Vice President. Good Lord, how soon we forget when I leave those places. AP. And they all were in there talking about how they're using Chat GPT to generate their communications. So, so it is not something foreign. So don't think that it is, and use it to your advantage. Please do that. Steve,
This training that we're doing with Chat GPT, the leader of this is Brian Sheehan, and Mark Lyon is involved in it as well. It's the growth workshop, and it's taught by Jody Burmeister and taught by there's several of us who are going to be teaching it, and it's a part of this. So it's I mean, it's there. It's just Oak Brook doesn't approve of it, and that's the staff that's not approving of it, not the leadership.
Right.
I can't. And you may recall 10 years or so ago when LCI was not involved in social media, and we introduced social media, and then Lions sort of started catching up a little bit, but not as much as Daniel is out there doing it. And there's just a number of things that a large global bureaucracy has difficulty fitting in 13 different languages. They've got all these bureaucratic challenges that we in CA1 don't have time to fool around with. If this thing works and it's going to help us grow, and you like using it, I mean, that's all we need.
Yep, go for it and do it. Steve, I'm going to go back to a comment and a great comment you made. And that comment was, I don't want to give up on those clubs that are struggling. And I'm paraphrasing, Steve, and if I'm putting a word in your mouth, please correct me, okay? But I think that's kind of what I heard. I'm gonna say that no, we don't want to give up on those clubs, but at the same time, all of you have heard me say this at least twice, I think. When it comes to clubs that you're talking about rebuilding, or you're talking about working to rebuild, and we've been rebuilding that same club for the last 3 years, do you think one more year is going to be the next? Is that going to do it? How much time are we spending on trying to rebuild a club that may not want to be rebuilt? We may want it to be rebuilt, but does the club want it to be? Does the club want to rebuild? So if we're not getting commitment, I think that's one of the things that Richard was trying to get across. If the club makes no commitment to that, why are we making that commitment? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think so. I mean, I need to go look at lionsvirtual.org and see what you're talking about. But in 2S5, most of our clubs are in small towns. We know the mayor, we know the newspapers, we know the radio stations, we know these people already. They're friends. Hell, some of them are members of our club.
Mhm.
So I'll have to see what Lions Virtual has to offer. Right now I'm skeptical, I'll be quite honest. And because when you're in a district, the largest town in my district is Bryan College Station. I don't have a Fort Worth or a Houston or any big cities. And our members are at the heart of their communities.
I understand that, and I think we may be mixing an apple and an orange here. What Richard was talking about, and what you objected to was when he made the comment about those clubs that are not active, that are kind of on the dying end, and it did not mean that they were not at 100 member level. They could be. You have a club of 12 that is an outstanding club. He didn't mean to not pay attention to them, but what he was talking about was trying to breathe life into or trying to support those clubs that want to be supported. Now that has nothing to do with Lions Virtual. Lions Virtual is strictly an opportunity to learn more about ChatGPT and the training that they're providing through Lions Virtual for using ChatGPT. What we're talking about here, the question that you popped up to Richard about was it had to do with it about not wanting to support clubs who are struggling. And my comment to that is we need to ask that club if they want help. And then if they want help, then they have to put some skin in the game to help. It can't be us saying, well, I just don't want to lose that club.
I believe what I was saying was you want to focus on clubs that are willing.
Right.
And if a club with 2 members in it is willing, that sounds great to me. I did one club that had 7 members, and they're now at 29 members. They were very willing, and it really worked for them. So, but we've got other clubs say, don't come around here talking about this stuff from LCI. We're just not interested. We're happy meeting every Friday for lunch, and that's what we want to do. Well, we'll love them and let them meet every Friday for lunch and not force them to do something they don't want to do.
Correct. Yeah. You take Gary in X1, he's got a club in X1, the Italy Lions Club, who 3 years ago, they were down to 2 members, the president of the club and one other member. The president of the club did not want that club to close. In fact, reached out to the district and said, we need help. They went in as a group. The district went in, put a task force together. Italy went from 2 members to up to, I think they're now at 15 or 16 members and continuing to grow. So, but it takes the club has to be the one to ask that question. My point to y'all is this: if you're going to expend that energy on a club that wants to grow. I have clubs in my own home district that do not want to grow. And as Richard said, that's fine. Let them meet on the days they want to meet and let them do whatever it is that they want to do. And then they will eventually start fading away. There's nothing you can do about it. We can't force them to want to grow. I think that's the point I'm trying to make to you, Steve. And I know that we all don't want to see a club fold. We all want to see our clubs thrive. That's what we want to do as a governor. But there just comes a point where we have to say, how much time and effort can we expend on a club? And if we've been doing it for 2-3 years, do we think that another 2 or 3 years are going to actually grow? And they're not. So that's the point I was trying to make to you.
I'd like to clarify something that Steve said. ChatGPT is not just what it was you were saying your clubs really didn't need because they already had it. ChatGPT is just a tool. The other day, I needed a form to check out a spot machine, a vision machine to somebody. And I just got on Chat GPT. I said, give me a form. And it took me 5 minutes and I had a complete form filled out. It would have taken me half an hour to put that together if I sat there with my word processor trying to bring something up. This thing will do many different things, even many things that don't have to do with lions. I think if you try it, my guess is you'll say, this is an extremely powerful tool that'll make my life easier.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'll
I'm
give
going
an
to try.
example. I'll give an example. The first Vice District Governor and I are looking for a new site to hold our conventions in 2 and 3 years. And I use ChatGTP to look at all the conference hotels within a 50-mile radius, setting certain parameters for numbers of rooms, room rates and things like that. I was able to come up with a list in less than an hour, which if I'd have done this on my own would have taken me probably 4 to 6 hours to do. So it is a really powerful tool. And I agree with you, Richard, that once you start using it, you'll be amazed at how much you could do just to help you through your normal daily life.
And it learns from you. As
Yes.
you're putting in things, it remembers them the next time you bring something up.
Yep.
So the East Moose Jaw Lions Club is a very big club in ChatGPT.
I want to thank you again for your time with us, Richard, this evening. I want to thank all of you who were here on the call tonight for being here. It's always a pleasure. It's always great to see you. I'm looking forward to being able to actually see you in person and shake hands and or give hugs or whatever the heck you guys want to do this next week. I want to make sure, and I want to ask all of you please to be safe in your travels going to San Angelo. It's not a rough drive, but unfortunately it's going to be cool and deer will be running for those of you who are going to be driving in the mornings or in the evenings. So watch out for the deer if you're coming in late into San Angelo. It will start to, they will be out there running. If you have any questions, you got any concerns, all you got to do is reach out to me. I'm here for you. Again, my pleasure and my honor to serve as your chair. More than anything, it's my pleasure and honor to get to know you and be your friend. And I'm enjoying this journey with you. Next month, when we have our call, I've asked past International Director Pat Vanette to come in for just a real quick conversation with you about the importance of the Global Action Team. And I think that for you and for me, it will be an extremely interesting conversation that you'll be able to have with her because the Global Action Team is something that works at the district level and the multiple level a lot better than what it works at the club level. And it is very, very important that you understand how that entire mechanism works. And you can hear it from me all day long, but you're going to hear it from the person who is the constitutional area leader for CA1, which is the United States and its affiliates. So she will come in with some pretty good information for you. And if you don't know Pat, it will be a great time for you to meet her and get to know her. She's a lovely lady and an extremely wonderful lion. So she'll be with us for a little bit for next month. When we move into December, there'll be nobody but us. We'll have a little bit of a Christmas celebration. We'll raise either you can raise a real glass or a faux glass of your favorite beverage, whichever you prefer. We'll do that in December, and then we'll hit the ground running and talking about some things later on as we move into January. But got a good 3 months coming. Thank you all, by the way, for the work that you're doing in getting your courses done, getting all that crazy Lions Learning Institute stuff, Lions Learning Center out of the way. The things that are going on there, I know it's a pain, but I appreciate you taking the time and the effort to get all that done. And again, please know that we do not have a conflict for the 9th of November. That training will be recorded. So my understanding is from my conversation with with Mark Roth is it will be placed in your learning path. So that video will be, so you can go in there and review that video. And it's my understanding that all of them are going to be recorded. So if you're unable to make one, then that's a way that you'd be able to see that. So with that being said, are there any questions? We'll hold you over here by 9 minutes. I'm sorry. You have to just find me the next time you see me.
It was my fault. I was fooling around.
Yeah,
We
well,
hadn't had
Richard,
the
you're welcome
technical
anytime.
difficulties, we'd be on time.
that's right. We'd be ahead of the schedule.
Well, Richard, at least I didn't have to look up your nose to see your nose hair. So thank you for that.
There you go. And I don't own a cat either that gets on the dashboard.
Exactly. Or your wife's not yelling at you from the kitchen. Yeah, that was. It's
You know,
tough.
I just like to say thank you all for being Lion leaders. It's so good to see happy folks stepping up to do work. Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be around you, and I look forward to seeing you again sometime soon.
Ditto.
Richard, we thank you, and we hope that you have a great evening, and tell your lovely wife that Linda and I say hello. We send our best. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you very much for your time this evening. Let me go ahead and
See you
stop.
Friday.
Yep, let me stop this recording
Yep.
somewhere here. There we go.